Hello everybody, I'm here with a new video. This here is a video of a one-on-one session that I did with one of my Patreons in the captain tier. It's a perk that you get for being a captain as well as a bunch of other really good perks. So I've asked them if I was able to record this to put it up on the channel and they agreed to it. So this here is going to be the cut version of that. If you want the full 1 hour unedited version, you can go to my Patreon, subscribe to that, and you'll be able to get access to this video. So please enjoy the video, let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys next time.
I currently honestly have made like 5 other characters for future campaigns because I was like,
okay, that's good.
I was like, these builds look kind of fun.
Yeah, you're super hard stuck on which armament type to be for the campaign.
Yes, because you had a lot of good ones. Honestly, like I like your barrier one a lot. And then like oppression, I think is really good. Haven't seen no one used it yet.
It's a pretty cool. I mean, it's alright. I didn't have a problem with any of the Bleach filler arcs. There's a lot of people that didn't like this one. They didn't like the final animated arc of Bleach. I was okay with just about all of them. They were whatever to me. I didn't have an issue with much of the arcs, much of the filler actually in for Bleach. But that's just because I really like the Bleach anime, so I was like, yeah, give me more. I don't, if it's fucking filler, I'll watch it. I liked it.
Classes, you currently have 2. Currently, Shigami and Quincy. Will there be more added, or?
So
I guess you can't really. I mean, there's new lore, I guess, because there's new. Currently, right now, there's like more. The story's continued, right?
Yeah,
Thousand Year War.
The final arc of the manga is being animated. That's what's being animated right now. So for new classes, I've had other people also ask me for other classes.
All right, so off to the abilities then. I believe barrier is actually one of your strongest one if you know what you're doing. Honestly, getting the armor, like you could get 18 by level 4, which is I think super strong low level. Honestly, getting 18 and then eventually you get all these passives, and it's honestly kind of insane. You just kind of become a tank no matter which way you build it. If you just pick barrier, you could stick with the shield mechanic you have in it. And honestly,
yeah, it's one of the few that have a lot of passives and not too many actives. So once at the moment, when I first was going through the balancing of it, I was thinking of having a nerf barrier by increasing all of its cost by 1. But so far, it doesn't seem to be that big of a deal right now. So, generic is to fill in some blanks for your build. And then feats also do the same thing. If you want to do a little bit more niche, they're a lot more flavorful. Yeah, like your build is not supposed to be revolving around feats. And that's something that they fixed in 5th edition. Because before, there's some builds in like 3.5, or you even know in Pathfinder, where you're like, I need these feats for this build. Like, I can't do this build without these feats, and they suck. Which is
good old Pathfinder.
Yeah, which is kind of shitty, where I'm like, yeah, 5th edition fixed that, where they're like, no, feats are just supplementary to help you with those builds, or, change some things up, make it a lot more unique. And that's what my plan was here, because I'm like, oh yeah, there's a bunch of cool, flavorful stuff that you can do, and I'm just gonna add those to help you in your your stuff. So like if you're like a melee fighter, don't really care about spells and stuff, well, there's feats that'll let you spend spell points on to do special attacks, so you're like, oh yeah, sick, I'll do that. And you have like a sink for your spell points.
Most of your abilities are cool. I find like some of your types are kind of weak. But
which ones?
Like acid, poison, mainly because unlike fire and lightning, and like their bankais, you could pair them with some of your spells. Like some of your spells are also, that type.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
there's not that many acid or poison spells I can think of off the top of my head, but there is a lot of fire and lightning spells.
Yeah. So
well, there's unfortunately for acid, well, poison, what's her name? Got countered with the wind guy. So we couldn't really see how strong poison was. Acid, the acid person got knocked out hella early on. And in the loser bracket, I think he also got knocked out as well.
well, so, loser.
You're not gonna be able to see how cool acid can be. But yeah, I mean, if whatever ones you think are weak, you won't really know until you play them, just because.
Yeah, for sure.
They seem weak on paper, but you know, won't really know until they're played. And which is why I wanted to try them out and show them to you guys in the tournament, just to show you guys a lot of these builds and how cool they are.
And I see you changed the spell list. So my understanding, it's all you really did is since you don't want to make the book like 30 pages, you just took out the feats, the spells everybody should know, and just make sure you added all the new ones you made, right?
Yeah, because on the very top where it says like the spell list, the only with getting descriptions are new spells or spells that I changed, and spells that are not shown in the player's handbook, because like Air Bubble is in one book, Borrowed Knowledge is in another book. And it's like, I don't want you guys to have like the entire D&D 5e library to read like one or two spells. So I added those in here, but I'm not going to put in the rest of the spells, the regular D&D spells, because like I said, that would take up so many pages that I'm just like, no, I can't do that. Like I'm just basically ripping a whole ass chapter from like their player's handbook, which kind of doing that in some areas, but I'm not going to do that. Like and if I do, like my goal is to get this printed at some point. So like I gotta save space, so I'm not gonna put all those spells. So like, yeah, just go on D&D Beyond, and it's free to make an account, and all the spells will be there. So
yeah, that's smart, honestly.
Yeah. So.
And then you added two more spell lists. You have the human one now.
Yep.
With it looks like it just has every feat you can find in normal D&D.
Yeah, some stuff that they got taken out that only the Quincy have and only the Shinigami have. But yeah, it's a lot of spells that are in the normal D&D. Yeah.
So I noticed another question is, I noticed you have your custom NPCs.
Yeah.
The people, I guess for now in our lore, would be the people we went to school with and their cool abilities. Would they be access to everyone later on, right? Whoever wants to be interested in this book, you let them look at those characters too. Yeah. So they have like a nice foundation.
Yeah, I'll put them on there just so they'll be in the friends and foes section later on. And I think I'm gonna put each NPC, I think I'm gonna put them at 3 levels. So like a stat block for like when they're hella early on in their career, one midway through like when they have Bonkai activated, and then one when they're like pretty high level. Just so like at any point in the game they can keep using the same NPC but with their adjusted different stat blocks. Just so yeah.
And of course they could, because it's theirs. They could like mess around with the characters, but I think that's really cool. You already have like that already set up.
You love the art for them, huh?
So I think I skipped over this last time. What are your backgrounds? You have Substitute, Shimigami, and then Exile. Like, what are those exactly?
Oh yeah, those were added in. So the Substitute Shinigami is like Ichigo.
Yes.
You know how like he's a substitute Shinigami. So there's a
I believe that's how he started. Yes.
Yeah. And then there's the Exile background. which is like when someone gets exiled from whatever realm. It could be from like, it's like some Shinigami got exiled for doing illegal shit, or they get like banished for doing something bad, or any of the other realms, any of the other factions they can get exiled from, and they'll get the exile, you know, background. That's what you can get.
Is this for flavor, or do they actually get something?
Well, it's like a normal background, like any background, like in the regular D&D background when you choose, you know, like acolyte, urchin, or stuff like that. Like,
but currently I'm on your stock plateau, and I feel like it's in a good place right now. Your little stock plateau table and tree and how is currently I'm really new. I don't get, if you look at the table, the throwing mechanic for it. Can you like explain that to me real fast? So if you go to click on stock plateau and you look at the table, the tree, right?
Yeah.
It says, was it Tamto? And it says underneath throne, like 1d4, 1d4, 1d.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean by that?
This is your the level table for your weapon, and your weapon is the same level as you.
Yes.
So it's the same way. So if you're level 5, you look at the level 5 stuff, and that's the stats of your weapon. So if you have a Tanto, you're gonna get magic weapon +1. You have Shikai, Kengen, Kanto, sub, like you have all those. But you look at it, your weapon is a 1d4 with a throne of 2060, which seems to be the same all the way up. It doesn't seem to go up until level 6, where it then becomes 4080. So the throne on weapons, that means you can throw your weapon up to 60 feet, like 2060.
Yes.
But you can throw it up to at 20 feet, like that's the max range, with no penalty. But if you're throwing your weapon at someone from range 25 all the way up to maximum 60, you're gonna have disadvantage on the attack roll.
Oh, I see.
Because I just throw, like, you can throw it 20 feet accurately, but then anything farther than that, it gets a little less accurate, and the maximum is 60 feet. Yeah,
I see. And then some of your abilities, not all of them have bankais. I noticed. Was that like on purpose?
Some of them.
Yeah, like not all of them have a bankai.
Some of them, like weapon, and I believe, no, I think armor has one.
Yeah, armor has one. He has
like weapon. A lot of it's like passive, so there's not a lot of like bankais. I couldn't think of any at the time, but that doesn't mean it's not gonna, any abilities, any armament types. If they don't have one, doesn't mean they can't get one. That's just, the ones that I included just ones to, like, these are just ones you can pick up. But like in the beginning of the armament chapter, I'm like, if you want something, work with your DM to make something new. If I didn't include it, because like, I can make each armament type like fucking half a book of just abilities.
True.
So, like, I can't do that. So I gotta be very selective. Yeah. So that's why a lot of them kind of look a little cookie cutter, because I'm like, I just gotta fill these in, and then later on I'll probably change them around to be unique. But like, these are just examples that people can pick up and use.
Oh, I see. And then will you be, I believe in the new, because they've been making new 5e stuff, right? Correct. And then you guys were talking about, like, in the new stuff, ice is going to get a mechanic that affects, I think, your movement speed, right? In the future.
Yeah. So
are you going to include those stuff, like those type of features in your book?
Yeah, as 1D&D, which is basically D&D, it's going to be either like 5.5, or we're going to straight up just go into a new edition. With those stuff, I'll incorporate them into the book. Like the trait that you guys have, the racial trait, when you guys take a long rest, resourceful, you have inspiration. that's from the new stuff. Like that's using the new racial stuff. So I'm like, oh yeah, this looks like way better than the normal, human. So I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna use that for the book. So I changed it before we started the campaign. I'm like, yeah, that's the human now. Like that's just better, I think. And if they change it later on, I might update the book too to fit it, to have those new stats and stuff. But yeah, I was like, oh yeah, that's cool. That's great. I'm just gonna do that. And so when they have new stuff like that added, like I'll probably change and update the book to it, because most of what's coming out of 1D&D seems to be a lot more better and streamlined. So I'll probably do that. And there's like new conditions being added. I'm really hesitant to add new conditions just because like you're already learning a whole new class, a new armament, like with your Zanpakuto, like you're learning all this stuff, and I don't want to add new conditions because it's like, fuck, now I gotta learn conditions as well that are unique in this book. So I'm trying not to put too many new unique stuff in the book, so it's a lot easier to learn and pick up.
I see. Which I think summoning is actually one you've been balancing, right?
Don't even get me started on summoning. Don't even shut the fuck up. Oh my god, summoning has been a headache. Okay.
Oh.
Don't get started on summoning. All right. Anyway, we're just about time. What else do you want to talk about before it's time to go?
I mean, well, really, all I have to say is I think this book's great. People should try it, honestly. And yeah, just subscribe to his Patreon. I've been one of the original members.
First patron.
Yes, first patron. And anybody wants to know my username, you can always ask Luis.
Say the full thing, you dumb idiot.
I'm currently named the man who wants to lick Luis's feet.
You fucking bastard.
Which to this day is arguably the best $10 I spent every month, because it brings me nothing but joy.
Your boy helping spread out the Patreon advertising. Let's go. Okay, David. Well, I guess that's about it. So we still got a few more of your other perks we're gonna cash in on some other day. So you just think about those. You let me know when we want to get together for those. And that's gonna be it. See you guys later. As David said, subscribe to the Patreon. Subscribe to the YouTube channel to keep up to date. You can follow me on Twitter. I'll post some updates on there. You can message me with any kind of questions about the book, or Discord. I'll have a link below too as well. You can add me on there, send me some questions, any thoughts, feedback, advice you have on the book, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Super busy with work and finals, so I'll probably be slow, but I will get back to you guys. And that's about it. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night. Goodbye.